Most people completely misunderstand the Sermon on the Mount. They treat the Beatitudes like a checklist of nice, comforting poetry designed to make you feel good. But if you actually look at the historical reality of what happened on that mountain, you realize something terrifying. Jesus wasn't giving a motivational speech. He was dropping a devastating critique on human nature, and he was declaring war on the way the world operates. To understand the secret behind this text, you have to understand the environment. Thousands of people had gathered on a hillside near the Sea of Galilee. These weren't people looking for a self-help seminar. They were living under the brutal, crushing occupation of the Roman Empire. They were desperate, angry, and waiting for a military messiah. They wanted a king who would pick up a physical sword, slaughter their enemies, and put them on top of the world. They were expecting a battle plan. Instead, Jesus sits down, looks at this crowd of revolutionaries, and completely shatters their expectations. He tells them that the people who actually possess the kingdom of heaven are the poor in spirit. Think about how offensive that was to the ancient ear. To be poor in spirit doesn't mean being humble or modest. In the original language, it implies absolute, total spiritual bankruptcy. Jesus was looking at a crowd of deeply religious people and telling them the hard truth. You have absolutely nothing of your own merit to offer God. You cannot buy your way into His favor. You cannot earn it by being a good person, and your heritage won't save you. The secret to the kingdom isn't stepping up. It is realizing you are completely empty-handed, dropping your pride, and admitting your total dependence on grace. The world rewards self-sufficiency, but God only fills the empty. Then He drops the next hard truth. Blessed are those who mourn. On the surface, it sounds like a massive contradiction. How can a grieving person be prosperous? The hidden reality here is that Jesus isn't talking about generic sadness or crying over temporary life problems. He is talking about a brutal, gut-wrenching sorrow over our own sin. When you finally realize your spiritual poverty, it should break you. You stop making excuses for your flaws. You stop pointing fingers at the corruption in the world, and you start mourning the corruption inside your own heart. Christ's promise is paradoxical. True divine comfort is only given to those who are willing to completely break down over their own brokenness first. He follows this by saying, "Blessed are the meek." Today, society treats meekness like cowardice or being a doormat. But in the ancient world, meekness had a very specific definition. It was used to describe a wild, powerful stallion that had been completely tamed by its master. The horse still had all of its explosive strength, speed, and power, but its will was entirely surrendered to the rider's command. That is the secret. Meekness isn't a lack of strength. It is power under absolute control. A meek person doesn't have to fight for their rights, scream to be heard, or manipulate others to get ahead. They surrender their strength to the will of God, knowing that while the ruthless take what they want by force right now, it is the surrendered who will ultimately inherit the entire earth. This leads to the ultimate human driving force, hunger. Jesus says, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness." In the first century, starvation wasn't a metaphor. It was a daily threat. People knew what it felt like to have their bodies desperate for a drop of water. Jesus uses this raw, survival instinct to expose a hard truth about our desires. What are you actually chasing? Is it money, validation, power, or comfort? If you treat holiness like a minor hobby, you will always be spiritually starving. The secret is that God only satisfies those who crave His righteousness with the same life or death intensity of a starving man searching for food. Once a person accepts these internal truths, it completely changes how they deal with a hostile world. Jesus demands mercy. In a culture that commands you to hold grudges, cancel people, and demand eye for an eye justice, Extending mercy is an act of defiance. Mercy isn't a passive feeling. It is actively choosing to absorb the cost of someone else's wrong against you, just as Christ did on the cross. He demands purity of heart. The religious elites of the day were obsessed with looking clean on the outside. They followed every social rule perfectly, but their hearts were filled with malice, greed, and ego. The hard truth is that God completely ignores your external performance if your internal motives are corrupt. To be pure in heart means having a completely undivided loyalty to truth, free from hidden agendas. He demands peacemaking. Notice the text doesn't say peacekeepers. A peacekeeper avoids conflict by sweeping toxic issues under the rug just to keep things quiet. A peacemaker does the hard, dangerous work of walking into broken, hostile situations to bring true reconciliation through the gospel. It costs something to make peace, which is why those who do it are recognized as the true children of God. Finally, Jesus leaves the crowd with the most sobering reality of all. If you actually live this way, the world will hate you for it. He explicitly warns that those who stand for his truth will face isolation, insults, and persecution. The ultimate secret of the Sermon on the Mount is that the Christian walk was never meant to be comfortable, safe, or socially acceptable. It is a total subversion of everything human nature craves. The world tells you to promote yourself. Jesus demands you realize your spiritual bankruptcy. The world tells you to indulge your desires. Jesus demands you mourn your sin. The world tells you to be ruthless to get ahead. Jesus demands you submit your power to him. The hard truth is that you cannot belong to the kingdom of this world and the kingdom of God at the same time.